Alright folks, you are watching Downshift Pass. My name is Chad and thank you for checking out another one of my reviews. Now if you are new here, welcome to the channel. If you are not new here, welcome back to the channel. Go ahead and hop into it. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 2021 Hyundai Palisade SEL. They introduced the Palisade to the US market, they really wanted to set the market ablaze with something that was totally different for them. This is a true three-row SUV from Hyundai. It's much larger than the Santa Fe, and they also wanted to create a premium experience with this vehicle. So you have some nice luxury touches. So of course we're going to go over the exterior, the interior, the drive, and an audio test. So make sure you stick around with that for that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the styling. Now, as you can tell here, Hyundai decided to go very, very bold, especially with the front end of this vehicle here. I love the grille. It's a nice satin finish on the front grille here. And then your headlights are a full LED setup here. This is actually going to be your daytime running light, this bar that runs through. It's pretty cool how it's broken apart. And then you have your headlight as well as your bright light down there at the bottom. So it looks like that would be a fog light or something, but that's actually going to be your headlight. And then you have a LED turn signal right up above, as well as a little strip here. So full LED in the front as well as in the back. You do have your self-driving functions down here, but it's hidden very well, as well as parking sensors going along the front end. But again, it's such a bold statement. I mean, you don't miss it. This car gets a lot of stairs, and once you see that front end coming, it just looks really, really good coming down the street. Coming along the side, Hyundai decided to keep a lot of character with this vehicle, even along the sides here. Your sunroof that you get standard on the SEL and up trim is a spoiler style sunroof. Then you have your satin finish door handles here, and even on your rear view mirror, look at the turn signal here. This is really, really neat. You have a little piece here that you always see, but you know, they went the extra mile and added a LED strip on the back. Now, taking a look at these wheels here again, this is an SEL model. It does have the convenience package, and with the convenience package you get a couple of extra goodies. These 20-inch rims being one. It sits on the 245/50 series tire. Again, it's a 20-inch rim, four-wheel disc brakes, of course, front and back, ventilated in the front, and it's a more premium upscale looking rim that you would get over an SC trim. If you wanted something different, you would have to step up to the limited trim, or one step above that, which is the ultra luxurious calligraphy edition. Now again, you have a character line that comes back here. Again, it just aids in the styling of this vehicle to kind of make it stand out from your typical crossover SUV. And coming along to the back here, Hyundai did not disappoint with the styling elements back here as well. They continue the tail lights as they do with the front lights with the full LED system. So you have a strip there that is LED, your brake lights as well as your turn signal. You have your nice large Palisade badging as well as a nice large Hyundai badge. Now this is the SEL model, so it does come with the power operated liftgate system. Down below here they do have your reverse lights, which I'm not sure why Hyundai continues to do that. If somebody's tailgating you or you need to back up for any reason, they're not going to be able to see that, so you'll just have to start backing up and hope they kind of catch on. Continuing on, you do have your parking sensors here, and they finish with that satin nickel on the bottom as well. And one of my favorite design elements of this vehicle is this trapezoidal design exhaust outlets. It just looks really dope, and again, Hyundai really overstyled this vehicle, but overstyled it in a really good way to make it stand out. So overall, I think this is the best looking crossover that is on the market, especially a three-row crossover on the market. Doesn't look like a van, doesn't necessarily look like an SUV. It just looks like the Palisade, you know, it's coming down the road. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's under the hood. All right, folks, and what we're looking at here is Hyundai's very popular 3.8 liter V6 engine. Produces 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque in this iteration. Matted to an 8-speed Shiftronic automatic transmission, which is controlled by paddles on this vehicle. And you know what? Wouldn't be a Downshift Pass review if we did not take a listen to what this thing sounds like. Crossover or not, let's go. So what do you guys think? Did you love it? If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that subscribe as well as that notification bell so you can be notified when I post something that might sound a little bit better than this one. You do have an 18-gallon tank on this car. Gas mileage is 19 in the city, 26 in the highway for a combined mileage of 22. And when we get in the drive, of course, I'll talk a little bit more about how this powertrain moves this car right along. Let's go ahead and hop into the interior. All right, folks, and pop in the power tailgate here. Behind the third row seat, Hyundai says you get 18 cubic feet of space. Now under here, you do have a little bit more storage as well as your spare tire kit. And then of course, this third row does fold down. It's not a powerful third row seat on the SEL model. You just pull these straps here, the headrest falls, and then the seat will just fall all the way forward. Same for the other side. You do have a 12-volt back here as well, should you need to charge anything. And then these two buttons here control the second row, so if you push it, it'll just fold that seat flat as well, and it stops on the seat there, but it should fold all the way flat, revealing a nice class competitive area of cargo capacity. And it's a couple of ways to open and close this hatch here. Of course, you have the button, you have the key fob to do it as well, you have a button inside the car, and then Hyundai says they have what's called a smart tailgate. So if you stand back here close enough, the car should realize that you're standing back here and it should pop the tailgate. I had it happen for me once. Hasn't happened again, but when it did happen, it's a really lovely feature to have. So if you do want that, make sure you check out the convenience package. Let's go ahead and hop into the second row here. Now with the SEL package and up, you do get quad captain's chairs for 7-row seating. Should you want 8-row seating, you would have to just get the SEL model. But I'm going to go ahead and hop back here so we can take a look at interior space. Now leg room back here is 42 inches, and just to make it make sense, in the front you actually get 44 inches. This seat does slide forward and back should you need to give more room to the third row passengers, but it's a very comfortable seat. You have a nice armrest as well. You have map pockets in both sides here, and you also have USBs in the seat here, which I love. Then coming along the door here with the convenience package, you also get your peasant blockers, shout out to Straight Pipes, and then of course you have your grab handle as well, and you have 2 cup holders in the door as well as one down below a bottle holder. Windows back here are not one touch, although they are in the front, and then you have nice soft touch materials pretty much everywhere that you touch on. Coming to the middle here is where you have your climate controls for the second row passenger, a 12-volt here as well as a regular household plug-in here, which I love that they did that. And then on the other side is pretty much the same. You do have air vents up above and then your map lights back here. Third row seat leg room is 31 inches. I'll go ahead and hop back here just for S&Gs. It's not too difficult to get behind when you have that quad seat here. Now, as you can see, my knees are touching the seat, but remember, this seat does slide forward and aft. You also have a USB back here, so enough charge ports for everyone, and then 2 cup holders as well. And then, of course, you're right here at the window. Doesn't seem important to a lot of people, but some SUVs, you barely can see out because you have your pillar blocking, but in this car, you're right at the window, so it makes it nice and comfortable. Should you need to get out any other way, you do have a button here you can press, and boom, the seat slides forward and you can get on out of the vehicle. Now stepping into the front seat of the Hyundai Palisade, you have a couple of different options to get in. Of course, you have your nice key here, which is kind of giving me a little bit of Audi vibes with the way it's designed. There is a LED light up here that corresponds with any button you press. So of course you have your lock, unlock, press the hold for the remote start, and then you have your power tailgate as well. That's how the remote start works. If you want to cut it off, you just press and hold it again, and then of course your panic button. But with the key in your pocket, you just walk up to the car, push the button on the door handle here, and it'll unlock for you. That is how you gain access to the front seat area of the Hyundai Palisade. But I'm going to go ahead and hop in and start the vehicle up, and it does give you a nice little welcome tone, which I love. Let's take a listen. Love that. And then when you start the vehicle up, does a little system check, shows the Palisade there, and then the regular screen just cuts right on. Now, even though this is the SEL package without the full leather package, it's still a relatively nice place to be. This gray interior is not my favorite. I will absolutely choose a different color, but I love that you get this dual looking screen here. If you go up the limited trim, you'll get a 10-inch digital gauge cluster here, as well as a 12-inch infotainment screen, which is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wish this tester had it to show you guys, but it doesn't. Of course, you have your window switches over here. Your driver and passenger are one touch. The rear is not, but that's okay. And then of course you have your child lock here. Very easy. You just push a button and it automatically locks everything for you. Coming along the side here, you have a couple of buttons that you will probably press a few times and never again. Traction control, your lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring button here. I do wish they would have put the lane keep assist elsewhere, because when you're driving, it is a little hard to see which button is which, especially at nighttime. They illuminate white and it doesn't show as clear as you think it would, but I do go over that in my night drive, so be sure to watch that. And of course we do have the power button, the power lift gate button, as well as your parking brake here, which has some nice knurling here, which looks really good. Now coming along to the middle, your steering wheel controls. On the left side is all your phone controls for Bluetooth, and on the right side is all your cruise controls, as well as your different functions for the smaller screen here in the middle of the gauge cluster. And then as we move along to the center stack, this is your smaller screen here. Again, you can get a larger screen on a limited and up trim, but here it works pretty well. The graphics are not the best, but the functionality is really there, and that's what I love about it. If we shift into reverse, you have your reverse camera here. It does have trajectory as well as two different angles, so you can look it from here or look down. Go ahead and shift back into park here. And then as we come along down, you have of course your air vents, and here they continue on with that satin finish color, which looks really upscale. I love that they included this no matter which trim level that you get. Have your climate controls here, driver as well as passenger, and again you have a climate control system in the back, so 3-zone climate control. And then here you have your transmission control, PRND, with your foot on the brake. Just push whatever and it will go there. This car has a lot of dings and beeps. One really neat thing is, let me go to this middle gauge here. So when you put it into gear, watch how it goes all the way through the other gears. Something small but just notable that I love to see. It's something neat. Of course, you have your auto hold function. If you push this button at any point in time when you're driving, once your foot is on the brake and the car comes to a stop, you can release your foot from the brake and the car will just hold. You have your different drive modes here. So right now I'm in comfort. This would be sport. You can take it over to eco as well as smart mode. Smart will basically realize the driving that you're doing and adjust accordingly. Basically, I'm going to put it back in sport mode because downshift pass, of course. Even with cloth seats though, you do get heated seats here as well. Heated seats work pretty good. You know, I'm a heated seat lover, and they get a 2 thumbs up for me. You have a wireless charging system here that does come with the convenience package on the SEL model, as well as a USB port. Now take a look at these cup holders here, and they actually slide out of the way should you just need a larger storage area in the middle here, and I think that's really neat. And then when you need them again, you just push the button here, boom, you have 2 immediate cup holders. I don't like that the cup holders are right next to the wireless charger. I mean, that just is a recipe for disaster, but I do love the placement of the wireless charger because your phone won't slide around. So double-edged sword there, huh? Of course, you have your middle console here. You have more USB as well as a place to plug in a charger and a little bit more storage compartment. Of course, you have your light controls up here. This vehicle does have a sunroof. It does not come with a panoramic sunroof, which is a missed opportunity for this vehicle. And then of course you have your vanity mirrors located here. But overall, Hyundai did a really good job with the interior as well. The materials are really nice, the colors are really nice, everything is super duper functional, which Hyundai is known for a lot of functional features in their car, and they just did a really good job with the interior as well as the exterior of the Palisade. That's pretty much the interior of the Palisade. Folks, let's go for a drive. All right folks, setting out here in the 2021 Hyundai Palisade SEL. I just really wanted to show you guys this gear shift selector. I love the push button gear shift selector here. So this car has quite a few drive modes, as I stated before, 4 different ones. You have comfort, eco, sport, as well as one called smart mode, which really just adjusts to my style of driving. Right now I'm in comfort mode. The thing that you'll notice about the drive modes with this vehicle is that it doesn't control anything other than the steering wheel as well as the throttle input. So of course in sport mode, steering gets a little bit heftier and the throttle just gets a lot more sensitive as you push down on the throttle. So it feels, oh, and the transmission too, I forgot to mention that the transmission also adjusts, so it becomes a little bit more aggressive. But if you're really aggressively driving, it's an 8-speed transmission and it tends to hunt quite a bit, so we'll see that in the drive. And as you drive the Genesis down surface streets, that's when you realize it's definitely a quieter vehicle on the surface streets. It's relatively serene in its drive and its transitions and the way that it handles, but it doesn't feel quite as luxurious as its looks tell you that it would be. I was expecting something a little bit more isolated, a little bit more quieter, but you have to remember Hyundai owns Genesis and they cannot create a vehicle that's going to cannibalize their Genesis sales. Now this one does still drive very well. I don't want to take away from the way that it drives, but with its luxurious looks, I was expecting something a little bit more, I said, isolated. It definitely still feels like more of an upscale Hyundai, which is exactly what it is. And once you step into the Genesis territory, that literally feels like a totally different car. Now I'm doing this drive in comfort mode currently, but I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over to sport mode. Again, I like to do my drives as I would drive the vehicle, and I mean it's a crossover, but if I had a crossover it would stay in sport mode just because, you know, add a little bit more enjoyment. You do get paddle shifters as well. They are quick to downshift here, so let's go ahead and do that. That's fourth, third, second, pops right up. And it makes pretty good noises as well. It's not a dual clutch transmission, but it definitely kind of responds like one. Of course, not as snappy as one, but it is relatively snappy for a torque converter style transmission. All right, so at 291 horsepower, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the traction off. Speed limit says 85, so with the foot brake here, our foot on the brake and on the gas pedal, here we go. Right, this car moves out pretty well. Has some pretty good power, has nice has some good wheel spin there if you need that for some reason in your crossover, but pretty good power. It pulls all the way to the red line. It does have a little bit of dead spot between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM, but nothing too noticeable. Pretty good power overall. All right, so I currently have the car in its smart cruise control setting. Again, some people say better than Tesla's. Let's see what it's about. I'm gonna cut the speed up a little bit here. Set your max speed and the car does its thing. This road that I'm on is really good for a lot of different curves and undulations, so it's going to be a really nice road to try this out on. I've had some usage with it so far, and so far so good. It does seem to ping back and forth a little bit. I did do a Tesla video of the Model Y with the autopilot system. Here we go. It's holding the line here on the left really tight, but it's doing it. And I think a lot of reasons people say that this is better than the Tesla system is because it does not make you touch the steering wheel as often as Tesla does. I haven't been able to tell if there's like a 10, 15, 20, whatever the interval is. It seems to be pretty random, but I have gone for a nice long period of time without having to touch the steering wheel at all. Let's see, oh, I didn't really catch that car. And as we get closer to a vehicle, you're going to see it start slowing down or just maintaining its distance rather. Again, Tesla does have a one-up because if I put the blinker on, with Tesla's autopilot or Cadillac's cruise control, the car will just actually get over. This Hyundai does not, but the Hyundai doesn't require you to have as much input, and that I actually really appreciate. And while we go ahead and let the car self-drive, let's step into the audio system test. Of course, you know it would not be a downshift pass review without one. So let's go ahead and... So let's go ahead and cue up the music. We're going to watch the car auto drive as well as listen to the audio system. This is the standard audio system that you get in the SEL model. It's just your 8-speaker system. If you want an upgraded system, you do have to step up to the limited model or step up to the calligraphy model. But I'll go ahead and get started. Folks, so tell me down in the comments below. If you forget it, clearly will let you know that you are forgetting to keep your hands on the wheel. All right, folks, but tell me down in the comments below what you thought about the audio system. Pretty standard system for its class, nothing too spectacular. You're not going to be blasting, you know, Kids Bop's too loud, I would assume, unless you're me, because when I have children, trust me, I'm going to get the upgraded audio system if I was to buy this car. But leave a comment down below what you thought about the audio system as well as that self-driving system. I think it's right now still driving itself, and it does a pretty good job. It's no jerkiness. The gas modulation and brake modulation is really good. I'm pretty impressed, so good job with that Hyundai. All right, folks, so rolling into my final thoughts on the 2021 Hyundai Palisade SEL. This is a really great family hauler. There's nothing about it that's class leading in terms of power and space or anything. It's definitely on par with all of its competitors. But the biggest thing that stands out to me with this is the styling of the vehicle. If you want, it has really unique styling. It has amazing technology, especially when you step up to the higher end model. Usability is amazing with the rear sliding seats, the foldable third row seats. It's just a really good overall car. And with Hyundai, of course, you know, you get that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Paired with the price of the vehicle, then the overall price of the vehicle is actually going to come out a little bit less than a lot of the competitors. So if you are interested in something different, the Hyundai Palisade may be for you. All right, guys, so I definitely appreciate you watching my video. If you learned something new or enjoyed it, definitely consider subscribing and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the algorithm and helps the channel get more dope vehicles like this. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social medias. That's Instagram as well as TikTok, all at Downshift has, for more behind the scenes action as well as the vehicles that I will be reviewing for the future. As always, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.